What does everyone think about AI as an enabler? Is it going to kill certain businesses? What is it for the travel tech industry?
Why VCs are not interested in travel tech?
Almost 45% of trips that occur are either for business and for a work purpose.
Is there a magic bullet? Is there something like...
Where did you book your hotel? And are you happy with the choice?
So I'll start with a slightly, provocative statement. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Startup Table with AJ. AJ being me, Archana Jahagirdar. I'm the founder and managing partner at Rukam Capital, and we are, as sometimes we do, in the Rukam Capital office. Why do we do this? What is the rationale? After doing many episodes, we still get asked this question. I get asked this question that why do you do this? To me, the answer was always simple. From the day that I conceived of this idea, that founders, not all founders are created equal, unfortunately. Not everybody gets a spotlight. Not everybody gets a way to tell their story in a more relaxed, casual sort of a setting. Because normally the investor founder, interaction is very formal, fraught with insecurities maybe on both sides. And so therefore, I think it was important to create a safe space, a space where everybody can speak their mind. Of course, we don't go into contentious topics, and you guys all know what those are. But everything else is possible at this table. So welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking to founders from the travel and travel tech startup ecosystem. So I think this is going to be quite exciting. We are in the middle of the holiday season. So welcome everyone. I'd like each one of you to introduce yourself and very briefly introduce your startup. So I'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Parth from Catch Mobility. So Catch is basically working on intra-city travel solutions where we help public transport digitize, and for the user, it's a common mobility solution where they can travel with a single card across different cities, basically.
Welcome.
Hi, this is Neeraj from TripzyGo. And TripziGo is an AI travel tech platform where we are helping users to discover, plan, and book. And we're also helping creators to monetize their travel inspiration, what they are putting on Instagram or TikTok or YT. So, yeah, we are a platform.
Hi, this is Riya from Konak Health and Wellness, and we are a medical and wellness tourism platform, and we got patients for medical treatments and their wellness treatments in it.
Hi, I'm Saurabh Chakraborty, founder and CEO at TravelBuddy. TravelBuddy is a community-powered marketplace where travelers can join the community, do AI-enabled chats, and travel cheaper.
Great.
Hi, Vishwanath here. We are building Omji, where we're trying to be India's preferred partner for spiritual and religious travel and experiences in the same space.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It is great to be here and meet everyone. I am Ujjwal, co-founder of Passprt. Passprt is your personal travel advisor. It helps you plan and book your holiday your way. It works in 3 simple steps. First is personalized discovery. Just tell your requirements to Passprt. It will give you personalized recommendations around hotels, experiences, food options, and whatnot. Second is the planning part. So when you're planning your itinerary, people have many doubts. So the Passprt is there to help you out. Whatever you have, whatever queries you have, just ask. And then once you are done planning, you can book whatever you want, whenever you want on the platform itself. And to do all this, we are training our own LLM for travel and building a community to power our LLM with real-time data and authentic data.
Okay.
Rishab this side. Trying to build something called Polarturn, with which I am trying to solve these 2 things that budget travelers often struggle with. First is money. Second is how do you meet people around you. So we're building a first of its kind digital travel companion app, and excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So thank you, everyone. So I'll start with a slightly, provocative statement. And of course, then we'll go around the table and everybody can respond to it. Travel hasn't really been, really something that VCs get excited about. So investors are not very excited by this space. First of all, do you agree? And therefore, what do you think is the reason for that? We can start with you and then we go across the table.
Definitely. See, for VCs, travel is a very different segment. Okay, and it depends a lot on, because there are a lot of things that's involved into, like experience. We are working in masses, so there are a lot of pros and cons to it. But if it's working fine, it's people are going to spend money onto it, like, because it's the only thing where it's a necessity, because travel is a derived quantity and everybody will be traveling across future.
Travel for leisure is not necessity. Travel for businesses.
Definitely, but it's so that's where whether we have all the people here, like, whether it's hotel, whether it's a bus, whether it's a metro, or whether it's a flight, people are going to travel, whether it's work. If we see across India, almost 45% of trips that occur are either for business and for a work purpose, basically, or some other purpose, whereas very less trips are for leisure. But it's a continuous cycle, so it's always going to be evolving. But the reason is because it's still a very dependent market on so many things, and that's where VCs have been struggling to invest. But to us, what we have realized is, if anybody is who is into a known segment, for whom the segment is very known, it's a very big market. And they also know that if they are into it, they're going to make $1 million out of it.
So basically, there are two, three reasons. First was the travel itself is an operational heavy business overall, and it's a service based business. So the first problem comes here, that how the experience is going to be, right? And the second is, pre-COVID investors had tried, the VC had tried a lot, and post-COVID, at the time of COVID, things were pretty bad, in a bad shape, right? And post-COVID, people are trying, or VCs are trying to put, but now AI is there, so we hope that AI will help to get more and more investors attract, right? And the next thing is, the creators or influencers are increasing very fast, right? Because influencers are now helping tourism boards to grow fast.
So on that, there's a company called Collective, and they've had their own. They created a AI
Yeah.
travel sort of creator. So what is your view on that?
So they had created correctly. So my say was the same, that creators are increasing very fast right now. Currently, there are 5 crore creators globally for travel, and travel is the second most category for creators, where people are creating and exploding in India itself. But there is no monetization for the creators. So some motivation needed in that aspect. And the collective is also doing the same. They are
No, but
trying to
they created an avatar. It's a
yeah.
digital creator they've created.
Exactly, but the problem is the UGC content is more, because currently you don't want to watch any news channel. You want कि YouTube में मैं जाऊँ and you can see correct and UGC content, right? कि exactly such क्या है. So people are more inclined towards UGC content rather than AI avatars or AI. AI is good for customer delight, experiential post and pre-sales, but not for the terms of how content to be displayed on the channels.
Okay.
I think travel as a space is very underrated and it is such a beautiful space. So, I have got a story which is a real story of mine. A few months back, I got a patient and he was from Johannesburg. So, he was staying in Bangalore for the treatment, and he called me up and I received his call and he said, Riya, you know what? I just ordered a iPhone because my phone got broken, and within 8 minutes, I have it. What are you guys doing here? And I said, yes, we do that here.
But that's exactly the part, right? It's a service heavy. So
Yeah.
VCs want product, not service heavy businesses.
I think India is becoming better now, because earlier, 2-3 decades back, when travelers were traveling to India, they used to complain about a lot of stuff. They used to complain about spicy food. They used to complain about roads were not that great. Now, when they are traveling, they see good food. They have a good experience now. India is one of the most convenient to travel and most safe to travel as of now. So I
No, my
think
question was different. My question was that investors are looking at product, not a service heavy business. So it's not about whether there's demand for travel inbound travel. The question is, can it be productized? So would you like to take a stab at it?
Yeah, sure. It's a question quite close to my heart. There are 5 stages of travel: dream, plan, book, explore, and share. If you look at the book and the share, it is quite saturated. There are
Yeah.
large OTAs that are existing.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the dream, plan, and explore, there's a whole lot that can be done in the travel category. Like if you look at the dream and the plan, there is so many people are looking for like-minded buddies. People are looking for better planning. AI can play a huge role. So I think post-COVID, what has happened? Two things have happened. One, travelers have really started traveling. And the second thing is that a lot of new ideas in travel are coming in. And I'm saying this also because I was there for 15 years in the travel industry before starting Travel Buddy. So clearly can see that if you're able to take in.
So what were you doing in the travel industry?
I was a client partner at Meta, and before that, a head of marketing at ClearTrip.
Okay.
And I think if we take the right idea to a VC, which is not just about the TAM, but if you're really, really solving a big problem, then I
And when
think
it's productized. I mean,
If
if
it-
it is going to be service heavy, then automatically.
services, yeah, tough.
Yeah, it's tough to
Has to be
scale
productized.
that. Yeah.
Let me answer it like this. It's going to be service heavy. Okay. What VCs I think look for, and a lot of times we find the answer coming from the VC themselves, is that we want to see if you can execute. Right? That's what they're looking for. Everybody goes to them with a plan saying that I'm going to do this. VCs are trying to see, can you do what you're asking, telling that you can do? Okay. If you do what you're saying you will do, I think you will find that they are far more receptive to your business line than just going and saying, I'm going to execute this
Yeah.
project, right? So I think it's a matter of doing what you're saying you will do. And if you can do that in profitable margins, right, I think VCs will open up.
But just, I mean, to go back to the question of, are founders thinking about how to productize this category?
Maybe, but again, there will be a huge service element to it.
Oh, maybe the service element can get weaned off. Like in a lot of other businesses, that's happened when you move from informal to formal sort of economy. That is anyway also a natural transition because you can't continue to service the way, let's say, a local mom and pop travel agent will service. So I think, but the question still to my mind is what is the productized part of the business that can happen? So the OTAs did one layer of creating products, right? So what can happen, and are founders thinking more about that as opposed to saying that? I mean, I think nobody needs to debate that. Is there an opportunity? There is an opportunity. People are traveling more. You can see it at the airports. You can see it at train stations. You can see it at bus. So I think, is there an opportunity? I think the answer is yes. The question for a travel tech startup is that what will it take for a VC to get that conviction? So my question is that are founders thinking about product as opposed to, yes, there's a service layer, but how do you minimize it, let's say, in a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan?
Honestly, we haven't yet gotten that stage. Okay, we are still in the stage trying to fix a very basic problem in our line of business,
Which is what?
which is getting the ashrams on board. Okay, so we are looking at a very base level problem right now.
And what is the friction there to get them online?
Distance and time. Right?
So you have to physically go to each
Yes.
one to onboard them.
Yes. So we need to. When we scale, we actually are on ground. Okay, because these guys they say that they're connected through mobile Instagram, but you're not actually connected because there's no sales coming in. So fixing that problem is a priority for us. So if I were to productize something, it would be the phase that is facing them. Okay, so that I can onboard them quickly, right? Rather than pushing people down on the ground. So I would look at that as a product that is available to get ashrams on board quickly, develop a pilgrim management system, which is running on a SaaS model. Okay.
That sounds quite exciting.
So we don't speak about this too much, but that's where we will go. But it will not face customers. It will face the
No, see, if you fix any part of the layer, I think it's a
product.
Yeah, it becomes
so
a product.
that's what we would be looking at fixing over the next 2 years.
And how will you fix it?
you'll have to build it, right? So we're building the application at the back. So there are three, like he very rightly pointed out, the different stages for discovery. So we would go into the booking engine, which is where we come in. Then there's the acquisition part of the customer, which we don't do. We work with partners for that. Then there is the part where the data goes into the central database, and then it is accessed by the ashrams and dharamshalas and all of these guys. So we built the model that is facing the dharamshalas. We get the data from Make My Trip, EMT, Easy Darshan. The booking happens on our engine, and then we get to know which pilgrim is going where and what are they open to. That data that is there is then accessible to those ashrams which the person has gone to. It's not accessible to everybody, right? And then they can use that data to tell that guy saying that, do you want to do something for the that region? Do you want to do something for that ashram? So that's what we are going to work on towards the ashram side. The pilgrim side will remain open where we work with partners. And I just discovered a very, very important person who's going to be there in my life, a Passprt.
This is what the startup table does. It brings together people that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah. So there was a problem statement that I had, and he said it's solved. So we're going to talk to him. So that's a part that we will fix. But majorly, our solution is targeted in solving the problem that ashrams face. I think the customer-facing problem is being solved by everyone, right? So we are solving a separate part of the problem. And getting back to the original question, right? If we can show that the numbers make sense, okay, I don't think VCs are going to be not bad.
I have to say, you're a very evolved founder. I mean, normally it'll be like, VCs don't understand. You understood the other side well, I have to say. Because founders think that, VCs are these boy geniuses who are sitting there and can understand everything in one shot, and then they should say, here, take my money and take all my money, not just take my money, but take all my money. I mean, so yeah. So what
So
would
we
you
have
say?
just closed our seed round.
Oh, good for you.
So
What did you raise from?
Arwa Ventures. So see, the thing is, there are 300K travel agents in India, and your product is really competing with those travel agents. So your AI is competing with humans, right? Now what happens? So like you rightly said, there's a service part to it. Then the question is, how much, like, to which level can you develop a product? So what we believe, it's very important to build a AI. So we are an AI platform which takes responsibility, right? For example, let's say if you go on ChatGPT and if you ask, right, can I rent a bike in Bali? And it say, okay, you'll get a bike at 500 rupees. What if you'll not get a bike at 500 rupees? So when you come to Passprt and you ask, and they're like, okay, you'll get it for 600 rupees. If you'll get it for 800 rupees, we'll give you 200 rupees. So when you're building a model, right, you need to build it in a way wherein you are taking the complete responsibility, like a travel agent. So your models need to replicate a travel agent. The confidence it brings to a person's life, to a person's journey. So I think definitely there's a scope to build a product for holidays, right? Booking is solved, right? There are OTAs, but holidays are not solved yet. There's no product for holidays, and we are building one. And we're seeing quite a good response. We have raised a round, and we are growing very, very fast.
How easy was it to raise the round?
I think, see, we started in 2023. For 1 year, we did everything manually. I myself took more than 3,000 calls, talking to travelers, understanding their requirements, taking bookings on phone. So it gave us very good insight what to build. And when we started building, it took us 4 months to close a round. It was simple, like it was not that tough.
Great.
So, as for why VCs are very apprehensive of travel tech, basis my experience, three things. First, bookings get you money, but monetization beyond bookings in travel, if
And
let's say
that's a slim margin business also.
Yeah. If I were to be building in a social travel space, we Indians don't pay for subscriptions. We did not do it for Netflix, so let alone any travel tech app.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Second is CAC is really on the higher side because of like everything that's happening around in travel. So you gotta have like crazy sales team and everything else just goes into it, and the kind of expected return you get out of it is not at par. Last but not the least, I think travel as a category, once again, because people are making a lot of big claims that we are here to change the world, the way people travel. But results speak a lot louder than, what big words you're throwing at any investor, VC angel for that matter. So if you're able to prove your point, then there's no, not coming of money in, but you just have to get to a point to actually, be as resourceful as you can and add whatever you said on the table that you committed that you will.
So I have two questions, one related to what we've been talking and the second is a little unrelated, but I'll put both the questions and we can decide which one we want to go first with. So do you all of you feel that if you are not able to raise VC money, will it be the end of the journey for and the second question I have, which is not related to this, is what is the biggest pain point for the Indian traveler, both business and leisure? But whichever question you guys want to pick up, I'll start again with you if you want
I
to.
think biggest I would take first as the biggest pinpoint for a traveler. To me, since we are working into intercity travel, that's where people travel locally. Most of we have been talking about how people travel, either it's for tourists, but I think major travel happens within the city, and that's the problem that we are trying to solve. How can we make that journey more comfortable? We see there's a lot of traffic happening into the city. Why? Because people are moving into the car. People are using two-wheeler. Even anybody at that Panwala shop is also shifting. Why? Because he's not aware about public transport like Delhi, Bangalore, all of them. But when we start going into tier 2, tier 3 cities, it's not digitized. So first, what we try to do is digitize the public transport, give them an information at least. Okay, the information has to be available. That's one part of it. Second challenge which we still see right now within the market is how, because it's a dominating market now, it's very much dependent on the operational. There is a lot of operational inefficiency. So if we help an operator to or a government to improve their efficiency, basically, that becomes very important role for us, and that's where we bring in cashless ticketing and all of that. So yeah, definitely that's one part of it. Another thing, what I would say, it's like, see, if VC money does not come, it's not going to be end of a story, right? Because it's upon how you build a business. As a person, like as a founder, I would say I started this in 2020. Now everybody agreed here that we are more into heavy investment service industries. So we install almost three things into the buses. One is an Android ticketing machine, camera, and GPS. Now, if a simple cost comes somewhere around 25,000 is what we as a company invest into the buses. But that does not mean we started as a bootstrap, but there are ways how you can do it. We see banking as one of the biggest challenge. Like financing, taking a loan is so within a click. So I think it's not only, but how confident you are into your business, how you take your approach. If I would say being a Gujarati, I want to make a profitable business. Okay, it's just not okay.
Even VCs want that.
Yeah, because it's just not that I'm going to dependent on, and so we worked on a business for 3 years on such heavy investment through different financing model and managing the funds. And at the end, that's what VC also see your past records. Okay, this is what, if he is able to get this, now you need money for growth, you can do it. So I think that's the approach that we all as a founder should take it.
So, as far as the pain points are concerned, so currently the people who are traveling are millennials, right? And they need some hand holding.
What about the rest of the market? Yeah?
No. Just majorly they are, because what target market, what we know as a persona would be target is from 27 to 40 age, right? And they need some hand holding. वो थोड़ा सा घबराया हुआ customer है to go outside of India, right? And so they need hand holding. So as I completely agree with him that down the line the product will be for Gen Z is the experiential and event-led tourism will be very popular, right? Post 2-3 years, and currently it is trending. So first is the hand holding piece. Second is the financing part, as you told that currently now everyone wants to go Dubai, Europe, right? In a year, at least one international trip and one domestic trip. And for international, people are maybe financing or maybe taking loans and everything. So these are the 2 points, majorly for pain point for Indian travelers. And third is the customization of any of the itineraries. Now the same influencers are pushing hard ki yaar, like for example Azerbaijan, you can go to this. Now Azerbaijan itself is a 160-year-old country and it's been popular only from influencers. पहले उसको कोई जानता नहीं था, and now there are 6 flights daily from India, right? So influencers are influencing very fast. So to create that itinerary, because influencer ने एक बार बोल दिया, now the travel agent or some of the platform have the responsibility to fulfill that particular experience, or maybe the hotels or whatever. Now, so these are the problems, and as far as the VCs are concerned, if they will not fund how the journey will be. So the business can be profitable at a minimum scale, but obviously the pace of growth will be slow, very slow, because now we know that if we are creating some product for Gen Zs and for creators, and if we will not push very hard and go very fast, then there's some big giant will come and enter into that space and the growth will be same. So ultimately ये होगा कि we will be acquired by them or we will dissolve, right? So we know that things can go, but it will be at a slow pace.
So to answer your first question, I think digitization in small cities is one big problem. So when we talk about travelers from India, so because I was also having this discussion with one of the founder, and he said people are preferring nowadays to travel to Vietnam, Bali, and Dubai in the same cost when they are going to cities like Goa. And in Goa, transportation is one big challenge because the cab walas are not there. So there is this one thing. So it should be, because we are more Gen Z people nowadays, and even the consumer base is changing a little bit. So people want everything very quick. So that is one big challenge that everyone should try to solve. And the second question, if I specifically talk about medical tourism, so I think it's a very old market that we talk about. It's 25-year, 30-year-old industry and very scattered. So obviously, because we are a bootstrap company, so if we are not raising money, we will still be able to survive because we have bootstrapped the startup, and the CAC is very high. So this is one challenge, that the CAC is very high. However, there is one good thing, that the ticket size from one patient starts from $1,000 and it goes up to like $10,000 in cases like bone marrow transplant. So yeah.
So the Indian customer is price conscious and a window shopper. But then if you look at the outbound travel, 25 million Indians are also traveling outbound. Okay. I think it's not about the point. I think I'd like to say is that if we have to get in somebody into the system, it has to be at a price point, and it has to be something like, take example, flights. Like we offer flights at zero convenience fee. Why do we do that? Because we want to make that person enter into the funnel. You have to make the person enter with a price point, which is low. But I think after that, if you look at it, there are multiple things here. I think the Indian traveler is now looking for quality. 70% of our total travel is happening for international. We have 70% of our total travel business is international. In fact, I have coined a line which is called international is the new domestic. And I was just telling it below that how the taxi mafias in various states of India is making it much easier. And I'll give one point. You can go to Bali at 70,000 rupees and go also at 70,000 rupees. Which one will you choose? So I really think that we are making a big hue and cry about Indian customer being price conscious. I think that's always been. Let's find solution. Let's come to the second part, which is, and we have been there for 5 years, we are COVID born baby. So it's been a huge challenge for us during that period. I think 3 things are very important. Build the right unit economics. Just see to it that you're continuously becoming sustainable. Your EBITDA is going towards positive. If that happens, then you will be able to sustain. Second thing is you should know why you need money. First, you need to be clear on that, and then you need to go to the VC.
Yeah.
So the first raise, I don't think one should run to the VCs. You do it with your family and friends. You get that money up. If that money ensures that you can be profitable, right? In a small...
Let's say your friends and family also don't want to give you money, and not everybody has friends and family who have extra money to give also. So what the question was that if you are not able to raise any money from anybody, would you still continue with your business? That was the question.
Yes. The first time I entered this business was 2010. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So we did it for 3 years. We couldn't raise the second round. Okay. 2010, nobody wanted to enter religion. It was a no-go zone. So kept quiet for 9 years, and then you re-enter the market when you see that it's ready. So there's a time for everything. Okay, sometimes you're too early for it, and you need to back off, and you need to realize that this is not a time for it, and you wait it. But that doesn't mean you let it go. Right? You keep at it. You wait for the right time. You get the right people in place. Maybe at that point of time, the right people were not in place. Right? Today, the people are there in place.
Also, technology has changed.
Absolutely. So you need to be patient, and you need to understand when the time is right. The first time the timing was wrong, and I think this time the timing is right. So that answers the first part. I hope it answers the first part. The second part.
Pain point. What is the one pain point for the Indian traveler, both leisure and business?
In our line, I'll speak specifically for religious and spiritual travel, is knowing that there are locations besides hotels which are available for accommodation. So I would say that is a very important price point that we're going to try and solve. How I will solve is a state secret. So we will do that over the period of next 1.5 years. But that's the pain point for us.
I think one of the biggest pain point is the information asymmetry. Like for example, we went to Rishikesh, we did a very simple survey. We spoke to 120 tourists and we asked them, like, what were your requirements and where did you book your hotel? And are you happy with the choice? Around 70% of them were not happy, right? So there was this family, they booked their hotel in Shivpuri, which is around 12 kilometers from Tapovan, right? And they were like, there's no public transport. We came here, we are now stuck. Like cab is asking for 1,500 rupees. Then there was this couple, they were like, okay, we have booked our hotel in near Ramjula. It's very crowded. We brought our car and now we are stuck in traffic all the time. So see, I think OTS has solved for booking, but discovery is still broken. And that is the biggest pain point, right? So see, it is not only about a hotel, it is also about where the hotel is and how do you get there and what it really feels like. So I think biggest pain point is discovery. If someone can solve for discovery in a right manner, I think it's gonna be a big company.
So as for me, talking about the kind of audience that I'm trying to cater to, the biggest challenge is, might sound a little funny, but it's FOMO, like fear of missing out, wherein they are on Instagram the whole day, everyone who's in the age range of probably 18 to 35. And all they see is, sorry?
When do they work if they're 35 years old? If they're you should talk to their employers.
So, yeah, I mean, there are people who are just scrolling through Instagram and they suddenly get to see someone who's traveling on a budget. They think that you can technically travel for free, but they just don't know how to do it. Second is people seem to be having the great time of their life back in Phuket in a crazy hostel with a bunch of European girls and boys. So that's the people problem and back at home.
Misinformation.
So it's the high expectation.
Half truths are being put out into the market.
Exactly. So that comes out to be one of the biggest pain points. People who want the core difference between people who want to travel versus how many of them are actually able to do it. Majorly because of 3 reasons. People don't have enough people to travel around with. People don't have money in the first place. Last but not the least, they're super lazy. They don't know how to plan. They don't want to talk to any agent and then do like 4 calls a day just to figure out what's
but even if you talk to an agent, it's a very cumbersome.
100%. People are lazy, right? It's just the
No, but I'm saying even if you were to put in the effort, it's just I don't know whether it's worth it, right? True. That to create an itinerary is really, really difficult.
that's
Even if money is of no consequence, it's really tough.
Because just, like these guys don't know, right, who you are as a
Exactly.
The personalization right now is missing. People are selling
No,
generic.
but here's my thing, right? Even in the generic thing, right? Let's say to take the Bali example or any of these, Dubai as an example. I mean, there are so many experiences. Now, if you're going for 3 days, for example, which is typically how people now travel, right? They'll go for a long weekend, 3 days, 4 days, right? So obviously you can't do everything. But the travel agent also is not putting in any effort. Forget about personalization. The travel agent is also not bothered to update. Update what are the 5 new things in Dubai, which is why influencers have become so big.
Correct.
Because you get to know, okay, these are now the 5 new things, so I can go back to Dubai as a destination, even if I've done it 3 times earlier or whatever. So I think the information asymmetry exists even, and the laziness exists on the industry side to some extent, because I guess they don't see value in spending that extra time.
So they just consider like potential customers as a lead, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's just another Excel row for them. So it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Especially for something as beautiful as travel, you need to understand the headspace of that person for him to get like a very authentic, very curated experience. And to answer your second question, like what do founders do when they don't get money out of VCs? They think
In general, out of investors.
So I think they think harder. For someone like myself, as building a social network for travel, very like soon in the journey realized that VCs are not going to throw money at this because this is a very long-term risky game. It requires a lot of scale, a lot of luck as well, and of course network effect. So becomes really difficult to monetize up until you have at least a MAU of 10,000 users. So that's when you think a little harder. Like for someone like myself, that's how it worked. That you figure out a way to build a business out of something that you thought was super easy, that you thought was super cool, but that's when you trigger your mind into that direction, that how do I generate some revenue to begin with, and post that is when I'll talk to VCs and talk all these money from them.
And what does everyone think about AI, as an enabler? Is it going to kill certain businesses? Is it an opportunity, disruptor? What is it for the travel tech industry? We can start from anybody. You want to start?
I think AI is a great tool, and we see
But
like
can it make a significant difference in how?
definitely 100%. For us, what we are doing is we are helping operators to increase their revenue through AI. We are helping them to reduce the cash pilferage. We are helping them to do a rescheduling, optimization. Now, all is what AI is able to do it. Because of this, it's actually increasing the revenue. It's not taking money out of them or anybody. Yeah, definitely it come at certain cost. If he's saving 20%, he might pay at least 5. Still, there's a profit of 15%. So definitely, AI is a game changer. It's always going to keep on evolving as the machine keeps on running, and we as a company also are adding more layers of AI because it eventually optimize, and that's what everybody wants in the industry. And when we are working with masses, it's, as I again said, that it's a mass, transport is a mass solution. So when we talk about masses, when we start talking about customization for all of them, and that's where a human resource will not be able to do, and that's where we might again lose as an economy of scale, right? So to balance both of that, AI is definitely important, and that's the way forward.
So, AI is obviously very important role playing in the current travel tech industry. As an enabler, also it is very good because currently what AI do at a efficiency level, that is post sales, pre sales, customer delight, handling escalations, reviews, and everything can be automated with a more proper and standardized way, and maybe
You're
customized.
using existing tools or you're creating your own? How are you doing it?
No, so we are doing a semi or hybrid one, like OpenAI, which we are injecting some knowledge into it, right? As we know that people are traveling to Europe, so we have to send some things they should carry, some challenges they may face. So we're just sending them WhatsApp and calling voice AI, right? So these are the enablers which are helping us in travel tech. And down the line, we are also helping consumers to create the customized itineraries. So, for example, you're going with you're a couple and you have a kid, 10-year-old, right? So you can just put that the activities which can be conducted in Dubai for 10-year-old kid, you cannot do with the parents of your parents, right? So all these customization with the feasibility. Now, what ChatGPT do is here you can do 2 activities in Dubai, whereas your check-in is at 2 p.m. You cannot do 2 activities.
Yeah.
So the feasibility of itineraries what we or what AI can do, we can make a feasible itineraries with feasible accommodations, how things can go. So AI is helping as enabler today, but down the line it will also help us in booking, checking the inventories and doing things. And for travel companies, it is helping in terms of shortening the work, what escalation, customization, or reviews, pre-sales, post-sales. This is helping AI very fast.
For travel industry, I think the one of the best thing that has happened to us is AI, and it is definitely an enabler. So for us, what can be done in medical tourism space, that we are also working towards it, that if a patient is uploading their reports, they will be able to know the cost in different cities, in the different hospital. In X hospital, if the bill for the replacement is going to be 4,000, in one it is 5,000, then who is the doctor, what are his qualifications, and how many surgery he has done in past. So all of these things will make things very easy, both for the patient and for the hospital, because they will be able to make revenue. Also, it's industry is very service heavy industry, and also medical tourism as a space is very service heavy. So I think AI is definitely a boon for us.
See, travel market is very, very fragmented. We know that every nook and corner there's a travel agent. So I think at a very larger scale, what AI is going to do is going to help us modern travel planners. We will be able to differentiate ourselves from that local travel agent. That's the first part of how AI is going to help. And I think the second part is, you just mentioned, you were talking and said, "Ki, it took me a lot of time for a regular itinerary." So just when you plan your trip to Dubai, as per Amadeus data, it takes you 37 website touchpoints to finally decide what to do.
37.
37 website
For a
touchpoints.
small place like Dubai.
Dubai for a family itinerary.
Wow.
So if you are using AI, so there are two sides. One is the side of the supply, the other is the side of the customer. With itinerary generators that we use today, like Nexus and Traftlan and all that, you can actually use AI-powered itineraries, which are helping you, build a better, smarter itinerary, which helps us as a travel planner and helps you as a customer. Now let's come back to that dream plan, book, explore, and share. Now, if you look at dream and the plan, there's huge amount that you can do with AI. For example, we use Gemini Pro, and we are using AI-based algorithms to match travelers. That's one. And secondly, when you are chatting with a group of people inside Travel Buddy, you can ask AI that I want to go to Rishikesh, tell me what to do and all of that. So I think there's immense amount of scope of AI, but we need to understand where to use it.
Currently, what we're doing, I can speak only for ourselves. What we're doing is hygiene factors, okay, and filtering. So if you have 10,000 people who are going to ask you queries, okay, it helps us filter out what is more critical in response, okay. So that is one part.
Yeah, that must be difficult to otherwise judge manually.
Yes.
What is critical and what can wait, and somebody just shopping around.
Yeah. So why we started doing it is because in the Kumbh we suddenly had 10,000 people calling in, okay, and we didn't expect it. We were not ready for it. So we quickly got someone and we asked him, how quickly can you get it up? He said 20 minutes, and we were zapped. And we said, Abhi karo. And he got it up. And the amount of time that it freed us was phenomenal, right? It helped us in streamlining who we are speaking to so that our closures are better. It ensured that we don't get, and once that is done, it also pushes across messages to us saying, this guy had a query I couldn't answer, could you call him back? Right? So it helps us being efficient. I'm not again talking about the customer experience. We are not experts in that yet. But in terms of internalizing the process, it's been phenomenal. There are issues, I think, that can get sorted, which is why Ujjwal is my next new phone.
I mean, you guys are going to go into a meeting straight from here.
Yeah, I'm going to hold him.
We have meeting rooms.
Yeah.
You can use them.
So he's my newfound best friend.
Clearly.
Yeah. So there is a part of the problem that is not yet solved. It will get solved. That's what a lot of these guys were telling me, and we will get there. Then it does a lot of hygiene factors like keeping in touch with the customer, which typically you would have done through customer support. Whatever canned responses are there, it does it very beautifully. And where it cannot do it, it responds and says you need to take care of it. So it makes our processes very efficient. And I think that's where we are going to use it in terms of ensuring it increases the internal efficiency of the company and standardizing experiences for pilgrims also. So that's how we're going to use it.
Great.
I think for us, AI is very different. The way we are using it, it's not a feature, right? Our foundational layer is AI, and then we're building everything on top
When
of
you
it.
say foundational layer, explain that a little bit more.
So see what happens. So like there are multiple parts, right? One is itinerary, then there is pre-booking support, then there is post-booking support, there's supply onboarding. So there are a couple of ways, like what I understand, there are a couple of ways to build a company, right? You build everything and then you see where to implement the AI, right? So let's say today I have automated the supply onboarding flow. But the way we are building is very different. Our foundational layer is AI, and the way we plan our stuff is everything. The AI will do everything, and then we just see where we can plug human to make it better. So the thought process is very different. So like right now we are a team of 8.
So you're AI first.
Yeah, like we did 1 CR in GMV with just 2 of us.
Well
so
done.
so I think AI is not a feature, right? It's a product in itself. And then we figure out, okay, here maybe we can put a person, right, to have a better relation with the supplier and whatnot.
Slightly different opinion here. As from what I understand, travel is a mix of two things. First is a lot of psychological challenges, and then second comes a lot of logistical challenges. So I think AI, for me at least, from whatever I could learn from Polartern in the last 1 year, was could for sure solve in a great way for the logistical side of travel. But no matter how great of an itinerary you end up reading on ChatGPTs or Claudes of the world, you're not just gonna solely rely on it. You still need a human validation, wherein somebody who's been there, done that, tells you that okay, yeah, this is something cool, and you can go for it. So that's where AI lacks a little bit, because it still does not entirely solve for the whole travel end-to-end journey. You still need a lot of human intervention. It could be agents, it could be Instagram reels, influencers, could be any random blogs, but it just does not replaces that human factor entirely. Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay, at this point, the tables turn, and all of you can ask me any questions that you want. So whoever has any questions, please feel
So
free.
I have a question.
Of course.
Because you mentioned about the productized part, which is something that even we've been trying to build. Incidentally, Travel Buddy was not a marketplace. We pivoted 1.5 years back. We were purely a social travel platform that talked about connecting like-minded buddies as a freemium product with a subscription on top of it. We have pivoted that also now by making us an Amazon Prime of travel. We call us that. But one question to you is that it's a little hard selling subscriptions in India.
It's
What we-
impossible, not hard. It's impossible.
Coco FM and quite other people have also played that part. Is there a magic bullet? Is there something like
It's a sachet model that works, but then I don't know whether you can call that subscription. So like before OTTs, you had this pay-per-view. When TV had pay-per-view. So you could say that, or like a lot of the paywalls have this, right? You want to read this article, you just pay me whatever 10 rupees. You can read this. You don't have to subscribe to everything. So I don't know whether you can still call it subscription. But what seems to be working in India, I think, is this sachet model of payment.
macro payments?
Yeah. So that, for this much only you pay me 10 rupees, people will pay up. But if you start talking about 1,000 rupees, suddenly there's a barrier. And 1,000 rupees for a lot of the TG or, anybody, any of you are targeting, it's not such a lot of money, right? Because if you are anyway thinking of travel, that means you have money, disposable income to do things other than your necessities. But Indians, we are a low trust society, so we don't want our money stuck because we don't think we'll get our money back. So, one discovery I had with the OTAs, which was not a pleasant discovery, was I had booked on a flight ticket, and for whatever reason, I had to cancel that flight ticket. Back in the glory days, you could cancel a ticket without losing a lot of money. I discovered I could not get my money, like physical cash back. It was like,
On the wallet.
yeah, and I was like, so you've locked me in for a spend that I had. The first time when I decided to buy that ticket, there was a reason, but that doesn't mean I'm going to come back to you every time. So it may work well for the business, but doesn't work for the customer, which is why, I would also never do subscription for this reason, because I know I can't get my money back.
But if you are able to show the value of the subscription, like if you look at food
But
delivery
that's
apps,
post, right? But it's
That's-
post.
yeah, like if you look at food delivery apps, when you take the Swiggy Gold, you see certain values.
But it was after they established that value that and trust with the customer. So therefore, those businesses are expensive to build, which is why they need the kind of capital
The
that
capital
they
and the
raise.
cash,
Yeah, because trust itself is a very expensive thing to build with, especially Indian consumers.
Question I have back to you, the same question. Why VCs are not interested in travel tech?
So for VCs, I've said this many times and I'll say it again because I think it's a very important thing is that VCs don't invest in every business. So VCs will typically not invest in an SME business or an MSME business. And what is the difference between a startup and an SME or an MSME? What is the difference? The difference is the velocity of growth, and the velocity of growth can only come if it is productized versus service. Very few pure service businesses can really scale. It takes a very different level of skill and again comes back to trust. It takes a major leap of faith for an investor to say that this founder will be able to do that level of service. So urban companies are a good example of that. But how many urban companies have happened, right? So velocity is extremely important, which is why productization is the most important thing.
I have a question for you. So I think if you have as a VC, how have your experience been in travel? If you have invested basically, so or what is something your opinion in terms of what as a founders should do in terms of which can bring in more interest? Definitely.
So I think my view on founders across all categories is that I think India is a great market. I think we're very lucky to be able to, and I'm not saying it from a nationalist sort of, or any jingoism, but it's a fact to get a cohesive, large market size, with disposable income. Now people want to spend. Like I was reading somewhere now, especially Gen Z are living from month-to-month salary, which is how the developed world lives, right? Because which means you're so secure that you can get enough money every month, no matter what job you do. So, which shows a certain progression in how the consumers are now thinking. But founders need to think even harder. So, I think there are lots of problem statements that are hiding in plain sight in all sectors. Question is, how have you thought about it to create a solution which, so again, I will answer this not necessarily from a VC lens, but just as a business building. What is that problem statement? So if you look at Manyavar, I mean, every nook and cranny has a tailor who will make you a sherwani and a kurta pajama. I mean, there's no secret sauce. Secret sauce is again execution, understanding that there was no brand which somebody could trust, that you blindly go into a Manyavar store, you're going to get what you're looking for, right? Now, the second part of the apparel business, the problem is inventory. Dead inventory basically kills it. So, as your numbers go higher, your ARR or your MRR goes higher, the inventory risk becomes very significant. So, what did Manyavar solve it? They have focused only on the wedding market. So, India's wedding, so मतलब 12 महीने होती हैं. So you take some seasonality out. I mean, there's still seasonality to it, but it's not as bad as doing summer, winter, spring, different seasons. So I'm sure I mean, I don't know the founders, but I'm sure they've thought about the inventory part because so like if somebody was pitching an apparel business, which typically I would not invest in, but if somebody solves for this dead inventory issue, which is why Shein is such a big company because they solved that dead inventory issue. So if founders were to think about really where the problem is in that business, which is making a VC stay away, and you address that. I mean, VCs we want returns. In that sense, we are sector agnostic. I mean, most VCs are sector agnostic. If they have a bias against a sector, is because there's a high service layer. Nobody's thinking of where the problem is that you can completely solve it, which makes it attractive, and velocity of growth. So the difference between an SME and MSME and a startup is that there has to be a velocity of growth. So look at our startups, I mean, the big ones which have been success stories. What, 10 years, 12 years, 13 years? So SMEs and all don't grow like that. They stay steady. It's a very steady state of growth. So that's the difference.
Archana, tell me one thing. Let's say there are two companies. Company one, they'll do 100 CR in 5 years for sure. And there's company two,
There's
which will
no surety of
either
either CR
fail
in
or
my
just
wish there was.
do 10,000 crores, right? Which company will you pick and why?
So, since it's in absence of all data and the only data point is
The revenue part.
the revenue thing, it's a no-brainer. It'll be the 1,000 crore company in 5 years because, like I said, that's the velocity VC is looking for. How fast can that company grow? If there are natural reasons, business reasons because of which it can't grow, or that industry is plagued with those problems, then a VC will typically, because 100 is actually not enough for a VC to get a return.
Would love for you to answer this more as a traveler than an investor. I assume you love to travel as well.
I love traveling, but I increasingly don't like traveling, and I'll give you my reasons. But finish your question.
Yeah. So my question majorly was like, what is that one thing that always comes back to you while you are out there traveling, and what is it that you wish one of us could probably fix in whatever we are trying to do, or someone else comes up?
So, if I had known about this hotel, where it was located in Stockholm, and see, you're getting off a flight late in the night, you're tired because I was in Switzerland prior, again, part of the same business delegation. So we were, you're on a treadmill when you're going for work, right? And suddenly I find the door is locked. You don't see any familiar city sights of Stockholm. Then when I entered, finally, luckily the taxi guy helped me with. Then there was nobody to assist me to take my luggage, and I had a lot of luggage. Now, if I had known prior that was, I would have carried far less. Then, of course, in the room there was no water. So I'm like, where have I reached? And it really ruined it for me. So I think travel, naturally has a lot of pain points.
Friction.
So I think back in many centuries ago, when people used to travel on horseback or by sea, the wayfarers, seafarers, I think at some level our travel is more comfortable, but it's also, I think, more stressful now, much more stressful.
Yeah.
Airports are like European airports again. There's just no assistance whatsoever. So, like if I had somebody older with me, and sometimes you're just tired, physically tired. You don't necessarily need to be an invalid to ask for assistance. So the fact that there's no such options, a traveler should know all of this so that you then know what you are in for. So once I went to Africa, and the car that came to pick me, which I didn't know again when the car came to pick me. So it was a 4x4 and had very poor air conditioning, and Africa, of course, is warm. So again, because that's the only way you go to Masai Mara, from Nairobi. So there was no other choice. Now again, it came as a point of surprise. So if you know this, you're mentally prepared that you've got to rough it out here, this is what you will get. So the other thing I discovered in Masai Mara, which I did not know, we were living in the tents inside Masai Mara. And I was told that, you have the screw loops that you put on your tent. You have to put it, and you can't eat anything. You can't do anything inside your tent at night because it'll attract wild animals. Can you imagine how scared you feel? You can't step out of your tent because the wild animals enter, because there's no fencing, anything. So, point being that, of course, if you want to live inside Masai Mara, maybe this is what you should expect. But sometimes when you're planning some things, you don't think it through, right? Completely. So then like the travel agent or whoever's the intermediary who has the experience that, okay, think about all these things. Are you up for this?
Right.
Would you rather just do a day trip to Masai Mara and go back? Don't stay in those tents. Like, to my mind, I think there's a lot of friction still.
Can I add one point here?
Yeah,
Like it's going to a Char Dham, right? And recently we had an incident. You have to tell the person that please understand that Char Dham is not, it's a long
Luxury.
trek.
Yeah.
It's also not very luxury. And if you don't tell that, then the customer has a very big surprise.
Expectation. That's what. And also, I would say ability levels. So
Yeah.
where was I going? And like even Rishikesh is a good example. Like if you don't go to the main ghats, which are built out ghats, I mean, there are other ways you can access the Ganga, right? But it's so, I mean, it's so rocky and therefore unstable. And anyway, the Ganga, the currents are very treacherous. So it's important that people are made aware of it.
Correct.
Because that's how, again, accidents happen. People think, it looks nice and pretty. So,
Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, but the Ganga started saying that entire place is very, very treacherous. So, to be careful. Any other questions?
Just a follow-up question. Do you think AI could solve for that? Or let's say you were to go back to somewhere in Europe.
If I knew the solution, I'd be building it. But, but
Would you still rely more on that very same travel agent who messed up?
But that was one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's been doing it.
Would you tend to rely more for the planning bit? Is the exact
It's a hard question to answer only because, I like to plan in great detail and understanding of where I'm
The
going. Yeah. I'm not a casual traveler at all. But at the same time, I don't like to be super structured when I'm traveling for leisure.
Right.
So again, I hate it. Like if my entire day, सुबह जाके ये जरूर देखना है, फिर 11 बजे ये भी करना है, फिर 1 बजे
Not
ये भी, हाँ, yeah. I mean, you're not on then it's not a holiday. You're on schedule, right? But I think it's a question of how comfortable somebody makes you who's built that product as a consumer. Because how did I build this habit? This also, I had to learn to trust her. It doesn't come naturally for any
So AI needs to earn it from you and then maybe
consumer, right? Because again, one bad experience, you blame it on somebody. Instead of yourself, right? You always blame, I paid so much money, like why, how did, this happen?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'll always blame somebody else. So you also have to remember that when you're building something, it could have been the customers, and maybe it was my mistake also. Maybe I should have also, I could have done a simple Google search and discovered where this hotel was before I said yes to the booking. But point I'm making is that the human tendency is to always blame the service provider or whoever you paid money to.
Yeah.
So you think it's that person's responsibility, not yours. So that I think is trust is built across everybody. Even human interaction is built on trust. But on that note, I really have to close this very engaging table and thank you everyone for being here. So, of the many things that we want to achieve with this table, and we were trying to just shine a spotlight on founders and sometimes even sectors and verticals that don't get investor love so much. But guess what? I think we are increasingly becoming spotlight with a purpose. So some founders on these tables, earlier tables, have of course got investment. Some of them from us at Rukam. And some have found each other. So one important part of this table is the peer-to-peer conversations, community, and being able to help each other. So we saw an example of that on this table as well today, and hopefully it will be fruitful for both of you. But thank you very much for this edition of Startup Table with AJ. Please do continue to watch on our YouTube channel and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Help and support founders, please. So do watch us.